I'm good.
I just need to read the yeah.
You're good.
Actually, we'll take like 1 minute, bro.
Okay.
We'll do that. Alright, sorry
Need a second. Yes.
I'm just gonna take 1 more second of
Yeah, of course. That's the point.
Alright, cool. That's 41 plus a minute, 141 minus 10 is 80.
18. Cool. Let me write that down.
That's fine.
I got it written down. Okay.
1 second, I just need to MDES all day.
That's all I got.
Okay. Are we good?
Yep.
There are communities being harmed right now by environmental racism. Which ones have you talked to?
I don't think that's the question. That is.
Well, it is the question. I'm
It is.
asking.
Oh, because
No.
that is not important to the
That's
argument.
not
We have made a
important?
claim that there are
Wait,
communities being
hold
harmed.
on. So it's not important to
Okay.
talk about.
We-
No. Stop cutting me off.
Okay.
It's not important to talk to the communities that you've corner struck in this 1AC and tokenize to get a win. You don't think that's important to talk about them about the
No,
sacrifices they're or like the things they're going through?
I think that begs the question of if the 1AC is a good or a good way to identify those demands in a place like debate.
But
we think
okay,
that
so
it's
what
good to do that.
communities are making those demands?
The communities in the 1AC are
What-
examples.
which one?
The one I remember is a quote specifically from the AWCP. There's groups in
That's
Stockton,
the
North
NAACP,
Carolina,
that's an
places in
organi-
California,
Hey,
etc.
Jacob. The NAACP is an organization.
Yeah,
I'm asking
sure,
Which
that's the
communities?
quote I remember.
Which communities have you talked to?
Stockton is one of the states that's named there. North Carolina,
Stockton is a
California.
state. It's not a
Yeah.
community.
Stockton. There's
which
like
have you
communities
talked
of color in Stockton. Ethan.
Okay, so there's 3 examples given in the 1AC
Okay.
of residents of cities that have expressed their concerns about woody biomass and have explicitly said that we should end subsidies. The first is Stockton, California, that they are increasing wood pellet plants currently. The second is Glaston, North Carolina, and the third is Uniontown, Alabama.
Okay.
Residents of all 3 of those cities have expressed their concerns and explicitly said that we should reject subsidies.
Sure. Okay. I guess. The next thing I want to talk about is the first advantage. I guess. What does the 1AC result in other than the elimination of wood biomass subsidies? Like, is there any? The 1AC lists like alternative energies. Which ones?
Nope, it just ends wood biomass subsidies. We read
So-
evidence that wood biomass subsidies.
Okay. So
uniquely cost
what is
effective.
wood biomass subsidy being used for in the South Korea right now?
It's used for wood pellet production. Wood
Okay.
pellet production is like the cutting down of trees, converting into tiny little things, and then shipping them off to Europe to burn for energy. We think that the deforestation causes massive increases in
Okay.
carbon emissions. We've read evidence that's compared to both fossil
Okay.
fuels.
So
and
what happens when people lose jobs because you eliminate subsidies?
Well, the second advantage actually has arguments that says that there's not jobs provided to these communities because these
There's
are these communities are not getting jobs as a result of the
But
biomass
people are
industry.
working in the industry.
Well, yeah.
So what do those people do when they're without a job?
The 1AC evidence says it's primarily British people that come in,
Yeah.
that it's not U.S. companies that...
What line says that?
The entire wood biomass industry in the U.S. is not U.S. companies.
So what part says that?
Every part of the 1AC.
So I'm asking for a line. Like this is really like
So-
sarcastic.
so-
I'm asking for a line.
So the Cruise evidence is describing that it is the Drax company, which is a British biofuel giant. I don't remember the exact part. But it says when creating the Stockton plant, they created it under the guise of creating new jobs. That studies found that it created 10 local jobs, and that residents in the community said
10
that was
seconds,
insufficient
my last
because of
question.
pollutants.
What does the U.S. do instead? Like what do they shift to?
What does the U.S. do instead? I don't think we've made a claim for that once.
So
We just said
but
we end biomass.
Also, the U.S. does not really use woody biomass for energy. We export it abroad to Asia and the European Union.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get. You just look more like your daddy. That's how big, bro. It's hard to look at you, bro. I was saying, thinking that was good too.
It's 4 and then the case.
You said 4 case?
Yeah.
Is that, are we going to different both advantages? Like we going straight down?
This you can just follow the same one. Big sheet.
Stop. Give me some.
You're good. Let me know. Alright.
I'm good.
Oh shit, here we go.
It's no Wi-Fi.
Oh, my bad.
Computer, bro.
My bad.
It's not even secret.
That's weird.
I was in the spam folder.
My email's been flagged as spam all
Nah.
weekend. I don't know why.
Green
Yeah,
Forest
that's
did.
good.
You know, that's why I'm the last judge submitted.
Now you make excuses. I just stated facts.
Alright. Okay.
Oh, I just got it. All right.
Okay. Wait, let me just download it really quick.
Your shit not pulled up on my look at the top.
It's not what I'm about. But whenever you're ready.
You good for this? Yeah, I'm good. Cancel.
Mm-hmm.
Judge.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good now.
Cool. Nobody stops when I start. Stop.
Market-based entropy refers to the government imposed price-based policies and quantity-based policies. Page 9. Market-based entropy species relevant for climate change policy. Price-based entropy, quantity-based entropy, regulators intervene directly or create a market. Go NEG, radical clash, or predictable topic to motivate in-depth research that yields the values and negation and argument of refinement to limits all as needed. A price-based mechanism that explode a huge topic which is worse for small schools. Next up. Whose 1AC is that, not yours? Is Curtis' 1AC, not row 3. 1 is structure of domination embedded in our institutions, discourses, practices you can't talk, or meaning and learn. 1 is why people have to be willing to have their relationship with domination, their authority, their being like utterly destroyed. I know this might sound scary, but it's not really my concern. They must be given a dying for people or getting out of the way. They must be willing to do that with the marginalized people. That's all them to do. And then white people often discuss how they feel, but the silence might not always. And when you say these things, you reproduce a neoconservative racial rhetoric. Don't assume that when you come into this space that doesn't bother me. So white people the most valued. What does it mean? When you decide who you want to be with, and the press this means is to figure out what the ways in which whiteness needs to die as a social structure. Next off. To Chicago, New York, Detroit, and Huntington Park, we would like to honor the following Latina people for Jay-Z, Flores, Luis, and Brenda, Carlos, Gio, Tristan Morales, Jay Beats, and the countless other people. We would also like to honor Jose Santos, Jose Gonzalez, and Cindy Marisol Go Negative to celebrate Latina Heritage Month and have me and Curtis do the Forest Watch 23. It's not recognizing the term cannot capture all identities. Latina people have significant contributions to protecting the environment and natural resources. Their efforts have been significant. Latina conservatives and supported legislature to conserve the monarch of the qualified, assigning executive order of environment such as direct response to advocacy, Latina community policy outcomes influenced by Latina environment such as join us in celebrating Latina heritage, learning more about these groups and organizations below us who allow Latina perspectives to ocean conservation goals, or resources, marine life, Dakota Sun Latino, national, and non-power action, natural, and sharing the decision-making green for all all and works on equity that affect local communities, Green Latinos, and National Coalition of Latino Environmental Advocates, Hispanic Federation, Environmental Education Programs, Latino Outdoors, the County Environmental Education, Lula advocating and clean energy, me family able to advocate and forward environmental policies, some bill support for clean energy, economy 7-week economic curriculum. Next, go to case. Racial capitalism will cause actual extinction, climate change, pandemics, neoliberalism. We must have a measure to death which capitalism or else their advocacy is doomed to fail. Kajani 21. The gap between U.S. national security and national security needs of ordinary people has become a battle over the coming decades. There will be three major stages to line the climate crisis, zoonotic pandemics, and social breakdowns resulting in racial capitalism, biological annihilation of the ecosystem, oceans, are defining the rate of the seas, and a change in 800,000 years, destroying the coral reefs. There are known to 6 times as many disasters in the 1960s, rising sea levels have forced inhabitants to abandon islands between 2030 and 2050. A quarter million people will die each year due to the climate change. One of the causes is zoonotic pandemics. Pandemics will emerge more often, spread more rapidly, kill more people, interlocking with the climate crisis, and emergence of pandemics is invaded capitalism, market individualism, is the ability to act collectively, the ongoing political failures to prevent environmental threats, the weakening of public health care, and return to guided levels of economic inequality. And having faith in white people's like government solving climate change is true optimism. The master schools will never dismantle the master's house. 199. Do we believe that culture will provide for the Earth's liberation? Whites have acted as if they own the rivers, resources, and force people to accept their scientific and ethical values. The master schools will never dismantle the master's house. And the world is dominated by sexual, racial, the economy built up as intimate colonization requires intimate investments into order to protect itself. That fact is actually 2019. After they want to visit Imperial Safety Center, Department of the make them proper wages of the future where they after the country should be about wages for the towns constitution opt-in dominant period order being non-agreement is based on major package effects to serve as the liberality economies as form material as movement gender parts of reality requires making of the world's otherwise saving black people and colonizing of other sexual as the Imperial States development produces investments to institute imperial after the world order black represents the authorizing theory and it's modern day slavery that's renewable energy turns and always case gross 22. The smartphones can be used in EVs, batteries are powered by cobalt mine workers labor in safe conditions and Congo these years these cobalt is targeted by everything else workers who do extremely dangerous labor for the equivalent just $50 a day fuel working in the greedy conditions cobalt is toxic Congo these people essentially breathing in and mothers with baby shot at their backs and all breathing in this toxic cobalt does the cause of people in the environment the supply chain is horror show and we're past relational ecological tipping points of only a reorientation to Charlotte so Kyle 20 this relates to avoid dangerous climate change to systemic tipping points the ecological tipping point and the relational tipping point got crossed long ago linked to systems of colonialism capitalism and industrialization that would create the degradation trace industries repeated violation infrastructure target practices consumption networks problems with pipeline sexual violence against indigenous persons remains a severe problem when extractive industries pursue a federal organization and sides of disasters hydropower side violations of indigenous consent side exclusions decision making unfair incentive structure when in the energy transition as a relational tipping point is cross reciprocity or violated believing that the industry is inability to violate consent among diverse beings colonialism is climate change of which many indigenous homelands across dangerous ecological tipping points and the abstract historical strategies generate eco-fascist relations for the 24 climate anxiety centers white religion and climate anxiety exclude people of color heating by diversity and others and role of privilege go for people from whom genocide colonization and slavery happened in an existential apocalypse for 100 years ago climate anxiety centers that are the middle class developed world experiences when white and privileged people talk about their climate distress for listening and witnessing and supporting the we center their needs of settle this is a driver to settle their colonialism eco anxiety can be easily manipulated and white diversity is terrible and bringing decolonial solutions are responses to climate anxiety guide affected climate justice and the one he sees the worst form of hegemonic climate policies to re-entrench the capitalist social order that are responsible to begin with carbon capitalism is a form of imperialist propaganda that obscures the solutions to global warming turning cases creating serial policy like Cobalt 21 reducing policy reducing carbon hegemonic climate policy renewable energy carbon capture and hydrogen and clean coal carbon trade carbon tax and so on within the capitalist social order of state institutions hegemonic and climate politics propaganda solution and climate market mechanisms that price nature are an obstacle to climate pricing proposals remains very limiting does not work only some of the force result reforestation of capitalism mining and constructive tourism activities such as trees and commodities reforestation is far from getting the forests that are being destroyed hegemonic climate politics size of capitalism for the climate and companies not how responsible for the climate which is good to be responsible ideological revision out of the individual the capitalist version of political perception choice of carbon tax and fetish climate question and the capitalist class are ideologically dependent and the one he sees form of legal liberalism is a form of interest convergence that reinforces colonial violence and declarizes third world nations demands for structural transformation and climate justice their attempts to uplift racialized nations is a form of violent self-help that creates interventionist politics and creates serial policy failure turning case rally case 23 legal techniques and transform international legal order and imperialism international law facilitate and third world nations that have advocated for limits of climate change colonized territories just climate change redistributive universalism inspired by structural colonialism interest convergence radicalized proposals of assimilated people reinforcing injustice liberalism versus democracies cannot achieve sustained justice and structurally unequal world and just pretty liberal law and around efforts to achieve structural transformation is necessary to address the very law colonialism was your hegemony losing in trade regulation hyper financialization of economies foreign intervention in the laws that result in liberal environmentalism defining the ecological integrity is governed liberalism to the term market is governed in the environmental governance and necessity and neoliberal ideologies markets are a purpose of governance to facilitate development power dynamics legal techniques abroad legal liberalism reinforce existing international structures legal structures and charities, which answer colonial projects sought to dismantle this and against convergence of the insurance reinforce of the self-help and charity that do not challenge the status quo. And
Skip that card, go to the last one on the critique.
this debate is not about the hypothetical. Wait, yeah, this one?
Yeah.
Okay, this debate is not about the hypothetical implementation of the plan, but rather the competitive incentive to use suffering representations for one's vote negatives to reject the commodification and marginalized people for a ballot as a form of void work and motive blackout inside and outside debate that's key to defending the dead. Reread these 21. Until the black debaters are developing a rhetorical argument and a strategy to engage as like as building relationships with security. You talk about violence when you walk by us, you literally have nothing to fucking say to us, but say you are the other part of the community or like college should focus on spaces like debate that are constituted by black death and top of a waiver renouncing answer like this for rejecting instructional attacks and producing cautious without upper and you pass the strategic gaining high community and debate. The 2017 MDCs about emerging. Ask one is the last one is the first light saves as a result. Say, yeah, do you know any people in the Arctic? Do you know any communities in the Arctic? Can you name a family in the Arctic? They have embody their policies. They is disconnected from their policies, which is when they can advocate a policy that may affect people in the Arctic without having little knowledge of those people and their lives. And this orientation towards policy is dangerous and courageous. A senatorial, some of the debaters who are role-playing advocates of war trauma of the various populations without ever acting to alleviate the hard black Americans. An example of political de-rising from the hold and act of bringing out the dead. Not everyone feels part of the community. Black people remains the LPO threat. The spaces for the black people, black persons, black debate is white work. Listen and pay attention. Go to case proper. No U.S. climate leadership following record prioritizing profits or authors don't understand how environmental leadership works. Actually, that's 22. The U.S. is dealing with biodiversity. The U.S. is duties for protection of biodiversity is not to be the way when treaties are not pure in simple cases of species that have protection for other entangled with rights and economic exploitation and hazardous pollution, waste management. And the U.S. has also been an ally largely for like this bringing domestic relations is in line in international standards, so of which could not be clearly known in advance. The U.S. 1970s use of the Vietnam War as equals how U.S. oceans diplomacy, APA, leadership negotiations manufactured by developing countries, EVs, phased out, and on sacrifice zones, the elimination of Chevron deference makes the plan impossible with force turns case down for it out 24. This requires decision limited regulatory authority could lead to elimination rules on the environment and more limiting the reach of the administrative state effect of the end Chevron deference or turning and Chevron skills to movement and creates massive opportunity for regulations to be challenged and the Chevron doctrine will mean the elimination of hundreds of EV rules and tackling climate change. Without these rules it would be impossible for Biden to achieve his goal of cutting greenhouse gas emissions, which all economies must do to avoid warming. So severe regulations such as those designed for the car and truck pollution by transition to electric vehicles with high power plant pollution, carbon capture technology could be now be more legally vulnerable. Rules could be replaced with much looser rules that cause far less pollutions. And renewable shift is failing for Inho 21. And the world added record renewables, but it has been the proportion of energy for fossil fuels was the same as it was 10 years ago. The figure is the highest amount ever added in a year. The report found fossil fuels remain the dominant source, making 80% of the world's total energy supply.
Alright. You good?
Yeah.
The early evidence says about hegemonic carbon policies. An example of that is using green hydrogen, which is the justification for woody biomass subsidies. I'm confused why you think this is a link to the AFF, or why this is something the AFF solves your offense.
Well, I don't think that's what the early evidence is saying. It's more so critiquing your eco-fascist, unless you're referring to
the early evidence, first line says carbon policies through hegemonic carbon policies, including green hydrogen, cap and trade, carbon tax. Green hydrogen is the justification for woody biomass subsidies. I am confused why you think this is not a solvency advocate for the affirmative to resolve the extraction of racial capital.
Because the solvency advocate, well, like the card does not say using the United States federal government for the actual.
Okay, so you're just going to go for a state link. So
no, we're not.
Okay,
but I mean, it's
then what is the link in this card?
Because the link that Koban says that it's forms of ideological propaganda that's upheld in academic spaces that re-entrench environmental destruction by presenting false solutions to climate change, which obscures the ways in which other parts of the capitalist economy create more climate change.
I want to talk about those
by thinking we've done one good thing while allowing for other industry to do more fucked up.
That sounds like a link of omission.
It's not a link of omission.
It's like other things happen.
It's a link of
you have said false climate policies. We've identified that the woody biomass subsidies is a false climate policy.
Yes.
If we reverse one of those, why does that mean that we are one of those?
What do you do? Like, do you cut off relationships with, like, the UK? Like, I'm confused. Like, you don't do those things.
Yes, we end subsidies. That was the plan.
Okay, so
the gross
have
evidence.
you talked to Biden about any subsidies?
The gross evidence.
No?
It's about cobalt extraction in, like, the Congo. Where do you think we have read a line in the 1AC that says that we result in cobalt extraction, development of EVs, renewables, etc.?
Okay, it's like, even if you don't result in those things, like, the evidence, hold on. It's like the Davenport evidence says that that's like, this, like, ambiguous shit that you're doing right now is what leads to, like, the plan getting circumvented by things like Chevron, because hundreds of EPA rules were eliminated.
We are, like, mixing arguments here. I'm talking about the link you have read to the
Chevron reference is very specific to environmental policy.
We can get to the Chevron question in a second. I'm asking about the link you have read on the critique that you have said the AFF results in cobalt extraction. I am curious how you think that happens when the AFF just removes a subsidy and does nothing else.
Wait, what is the question?
how does the AFF result in cobalt extraction if the only thing it does is remove subsidies for woody biomass?
We think this can be an external impact from the combined evidence that again obscures the way
Okay.
that climate relations are bad and the way
Sure.
you have made those things more likely
The
by thinking
alternative.
guilt assuaging that we have done something good, which allows for people
Okay.
to say, oh well, since we ended biomass, we can go mine more in the Congo now.
Okay.
Because
the
capital
alternative.
will always obscure
The
questions of climate.
alternative
Yes.
says that it seeks to build processes focused on fresh air, clean water, etc. How has that happened?
We
What
don't
is those
think we
processes?
do that. We think the Reed-Brinkley evidence is indicative of the ways in which these conversations happen in debate and spill to the outside. We think the way you presented the ONEC is not one that does that, but one that rather commodifies suffering to create guilt assuaging and also upholding your spaces as white debaters who are privileged, who break fucking new on Latin History Month and think they can fucking get over big shit on this. Like that is an example of anti-black violence and anti-Latinate violence in debate that you have created.
10 minutes starting now. Anything else you want to say? Typo. That's obviously. Yeah.
I want to make sure you.
Yes. I'm working. But just type it up.
Yeah. Have you got like most of this stuff?
I do not have. I have a couple things in my 2C box that I typed. But okay.
Do you have pics?
No, but I can grab that.
Sure, you gonna be there on Friday, right?
Yeah, I get there early.
I don't want no fucking.
We played last year.
I know, bro.
Kansas that was late.
I know.
We was there on time. We played. I played multiple games.
I remember that nigga body food went into the fucking rental.
That's his fault.
He said, so see.
That's his fault. I'm like 5'7". I gotta get something off. See, you should have went there. You know what I'm saying?
You coach anymore? You coach anymore?
Michigan.
You're ridiculous.
I ain't know, bro. I ain't know. Respect it. I'm new to this, bro.
You coach anywhere? Kurt, why would you even justify that?
Nah, I just want to say I ain't gonna lie.
He said, oh, Michigan.
I already got the first
Really?
one.
What the fuck? You go to both now.
I've also already got that.
Okay, then I have nothing else for you.
Okay,
Sorry.
that's fine. I'm gonna take a bunch of crap off, that's fine. Yeah. I know. But what's the other option, Jacob? Thank you.
I get something else for you.
Nope. Not really. I'm gonna grab that then. 421 used.
So 540 or
539.
39.
Dang, man, you just took over my port, bro.
I asked, bro.
Y'all colonized my port, bro.
Matter of fact,
Honestly,
what you gonna do?
I'll let my computer die if you want me to.
Nah, I said that.
Matter of fact,
I said that.
no, I'll take it over. I'll take it over. Matter of fact,
No. Take it.
Oh, the TV has come up.
It is. That's why we gave it to you, bro.
Oh, okay.
That's why we let it bar, bro. I need to what about that stuff, bro?
I wrote for the readers. I'll give it all these, man.
Shit will be choppy.
Hell nah.
Okay. The order is case. I don't know if y'all are putting it all in one advantage.
I did.
Two
Yeah,
separate pages.
everything's. Ooh, no, that's not true. I put the first time they say K, so like the K is on like advantage 1, and everything else is on advantage 2.
Oh yeah, this.
Okay.
We're just gonna do that.
That's how I split it.
Okay.
I'm not
Does
gonna.
that make sense? So like the last
Yeah.
argument I had on advantage 1 is the we card.
Yep.
And then Eckersley and then down is on advantage 2.
This order is going to be very interesting then. I will do advantage 2, sacrifice zones,
Okay.
topicality, the Latina Heritage Month.
My bad. Okay. Give it again first, and then can you redo it? My bad.
Yeah, of course. So the Latina Heritage pick, the other pick, and then advantage 1.
Okay, one more time. My bad.
Yep. Advantage 2, sacrifice zones, topicality.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Advantage 2. Hospitality.
Yep. The Latina Heritage Month pick.
Okay.
The other pick.
The credit pick.
All right.
Yeah. And then advantage 1. Yeah.
Yo, I got them. No way.
Yo, it gotta be a dad.
Bring this nigga over.
Holy shit. Okay. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, bro, we just.
Okay. Does everyone have it and is everyone good?
Is there overview on?
I'm going to start with line by line, so not really.
Okay.
Okay. 1 and C1, their evidence is not very good or not applicable to the affirmative. The affirmative does not say U.S. climate leadership, their evidence does not say U.S. climate leadership is impossible. It is not an integral component of the 1AC. We just say that their evidence just says that we're not dealing with biodiversity now because we're focusing on economic exploitation, which the affirmative stops. 1AC2, Gerald Fial solves the debate is about should, not were. The affirmative is not about creating environmental regulations through the EPA. It is a market-based mechanism, which means that they cannot just ignore it. We have predictive evidence that says that ending biomass subsidies is able to solve climate change and all of our impacts. They have zero defense to sacrifice zones. Biomass creates green sacrifice zones. Biomass plants are cited in predominantly communities of color who would disproportionately appear at the brunt of their emissions and pollutants, which is 3 times worse than any other energy sector. The government is prioritizing British companies' profits over the lives of black, indigenous, and Latino people in the South and North Carolina, only in California. Only revoking subsidies can solve. The industry is unprofitable and solely kept afloat because we subsidize the industry and give billions of dollars to companies. We may buy subsidies to support the market interpretation. Indie gas include pollution charges, tradable firms, market friction reductions, and subsidy reductions. Savings in the U.S. Indie gas have been within 40 categories, pollution charges, tradable permits, and market friction reductions, and subsidy reductions. Prefer one precision authoritative intent to define and include determine the scope of the season-long research. If only limits matters interpretation, only RF solves. Second is negative bias. Topic generics like oil, economic cap have never been better, while active interest areas are constrained to environmental impacts. Third is functional limits. State solvency advocates into impact all causes check explosion. Radical clash, excluding subsidies, exclude those communities mandating the removal which hurts their impact. For good is good enough to cause substance crowd at the Latina Heritage Market. permutation to the AFF and celebrate Latina Heritage Month. No offensive justification for why a Curtis and Daniel need to do the affirmative and to celebrate Latina Heritage Month. That are often recognized solves all of their offense heard. The affirmative recognizes Latina voices usually excluded from debate. The one to see colored evidence says Latino communities in California have demanded the affirmative because of the adverse health effects created by woody biomass productions. It means the one to see access to the same impacts. They've not made an argument for why the ballot is necessary to solve all of their offense, and making the ballot a referendum on Latina Heritage Month is bad. It turns the debate into a scientific modification and encourages people to absolve themselves of guilt. The other pick. Permutation due to the AFF and recognize the picks are a voting issue, seal the entirety of the 1EC, makes it impossible to generate any deficits. It causes us to debate ourselves and destroys any educational value to the activity, because instead of getting into the nitty-gritty about what the best strategy is to combat things like green sacrifice zones, we instead get into who should win for presenting the 1EC. The role of the negative is to disprove the affirmative or present a competitive alternative, which they have not done. All of the framework offense I'll do on Advantage 1 should take out any offense for this argument. Also, a lot of the arguments on the page are applicable. Advantage 1. Drop both of our impacts first. Warming causes extinction, anoxia, extreme heat, soil deterioration, and desertification are tipping points making the Earth uninhabitable. The impact is linear. Each threshold of emissions reduction dramatically decreases the risk of extinction. That's line. A second is biodiversity loss. It causes extinction. Crop yield, medicine, nutrient cycle, pollination, all depend on biodiversity collapse. It causes disease, food shortages, and extreme weather. That's the TIRSO and McPherson evidence, which shows any impact they could go for in the 2 and R. The framework. The ballot is a referendum on the hypothetical consequences of the plan. These must be to the plan's implementation. That must be in all that costly solves their harms with the inclusion of the plan, precluding that solvency. 2. Net benefits. 1. Fairness. You link, you lose, and move to the 1EC, raise the game for the negative, creating the research disparity, shifting the nexus of debate towards any net benefits of the game. Only the ballot can solve it. 2nd is clash. Comparing opportunity costs, raise argumentative refinement, alternatives to turn defense into offense, and is a prerequisite to making their offense portable. The proper permutation to both. We will turn the critique. Ending subsidies for forest biomass is critical to black livingness with racial caps and parafoy. And 22. Black forest relations are about independence of relying on the forest to command continue unimpeded by overextraction. The exonership of black and discipline, the racial caps and the containing racial plantation power manifest by timber. The black commons and the power to sustain mutilation of the biosphere occurred within that ways and also marine geographies that I made. Alternative ways of producing basic and offset the structure of racial trans rooted in slavery within this timber interpreted more as the threat than opportunity for application of plantation because it's a parallel ecological threat to the home place. A region of planet because of the compounder impacts the growing biomass and to recreate the international plantation relations within a more sophisticated and exploitative relations. Europe increase the demand for biomass. A tribe timber plantation. These places are located in black communities. If you look at the map, they are the same type of biomass as health that is renewable. This production leaving communities more vulnerable to toxic pollution and contaminated with resources to live. The active evidence. There are assertions that there are violent structures undergirding IR mystifies meaningful analysis of the world. Murray 19. Tendency of IR to correct your centrism is not a solution but a part of the problematization of non-Western. Is a distinct category Egypt's authentication of equate this word uses a hierarchical and plural imaginary because it's meant to the empire enabling identitary difference. A conflation of empire with the West obviously case is science and cohesive of non-Western empires adding representation well never till very close imperial IR addition of non-Western to the Western. This serves as the interest of beliefs within an imperial war that episodes make difference between not a reflection of the externally existing reality but a process of representation of no never advocated reification of differences of anti-imperial strategy to not advance apologizing differences knowledge that production of reasons to the end of service that the political formation of academia things a reduction of a difference can lead to reduction of groups of their worst practices or prevent increasing of new one day seen to be outside these groups and not Western to narrow a section of humanity like does not a generalized perspective from which we can derive knowledge but a reminder to pay attention to specificity relation academia to links up with the notes dialects to get a black body errors of overlap or obscure by the assumption that there are black and white need to use where to make mount onto realities that is amenable to the purpose of imperial ordering of grace and services divide rather than building of a agenda that constructively traumatize the divide that the scholar should not reproduce or upset problems in reality instead of promoting authentication and globalizing the disbanding to move to receiving categories which emphasize internationally connected emphasized processes. The first piece of evidence, the cone evidence, it does not assume the affirmative but is pathologizing because it denies demands of people of color directly affected by current environmental policy. That asks for the government to change their practices. That was above the mining leak. It is a description of the status quo. But they have not read a link with no reason the affirmative makes it worse. What does Long Beach think the alternative to power is? If it is not fossil fuels and it is not renewables, people need power to live and you cannot just get rid of it. And stopgaps are good. Soft landing, Heimberg and 22 transition from fossil to renewable is an essential stopgap to keep you guys running a civilization inevitably turns from oil and gas world has become so dependent on grid for kilns and finance and affects anxiety making culture when also degrees go down to billions. What we need renewables for a soft landing. The Virilli evidence it is wrong while climate anxiety can exclude the concerns of people of color. The 1AC explicitly did not. And climate securitization is good. It builds resources and wills to stop warming and avoids police repression from climatic effects. The alternative is nothing but armchair politics. Leave it 21. Securitization has had negative effects, notably 9/11 now the lasting climate synchronization is rubbing against us. This genuinely is existential efforts through the normal green parties have failed in mobilization of resources and wills to have analogies or one of the arguments of the historic equivalent of worst countries the most successful in renewable energy about the security reason for doing so is eager to move explain why 80 has done so much more than Tom on our present trajectory to the military reason drawn into the crowd control and oppression avoided our police do nothing to prevent climate and only securitizing warming as existential can agree by and even in 20 security supplements must have more strong than that conversation poses an existential threat. The sacrifices of carbon pollutant there will be population will be similar to the war. There will be no chance of persuading voters of exception. Economic changes don't last the military can speak of these existential threat. Police have now topic climate change denials their political culture and to develop a deep distrust of scientific experts only the military routines. The cultural prestige mark the card at cultural prestige. Mining isn't unjust. Aaron and Jacobson, 22 renewables. Mining is not really going to make the emissions go down. Mining is just a red herring because there are 50,000 oil barrels every year compared to the renewables requires in order to lack mining amount how much there are batteries that are lithium, sodium, sulfur, salt, even one of everything by 1,000 watts of the neodymium we know exists. We can use generators without neodymium and water about social justice and extract metal from the global south barriers are everywhere for lithium. Every time we look they find more whether these mine out don't change every time they are joints of materials with batteries. Lithium is being recycled already. The COVID evidence is regular carbon is also only an AFF card. The one you see was not carbon pricing and reforestation fails. Only the AFF can solve it. Because it prioritizes pro-forestation, e.g. keeping the forests and allowing them to grow rather than treating them as a commodity. We do not read an I-law advantage. The AFF does not save liberals. Some of the alt. It is compatible with the affirmative. We are resolution to green cropping because instead of this grow where people take the land using eminent domain, the plan ensures they have to be compensated for that land. The TSRB evidence it is not a legal reason to vote negatively affirmative. It's a fruition of black indigenous demands. CAP is sustainable rant in 20. All economies, including Chavez and Spanish, with an anti-Arctic further desire appears to be part of the human earth. Maybe close with materials, but somebody went. There was no reason to return to that reason possible to make sure to be reason. A form of things of increase in value therefore only energy sensitive basis and abuse of energy what's going to happen if this method doesn't work because eco collapse will happen faster than innovation alone stable taking pride with these counter right limiting growth not that time to helping conditions that we give up growth that was not starting people in each office repercussions preventions and data ensures here supporting saying nothing but developing world we need to go with that applies to the low carbon energy be much issue as we have to that task not rejected. The alt cannot solve global emissions. Alt that actually the alt can't solve signed in World 21 US largest economy history ever person animal or anything that causes emissions can advantage or even high emissions will still with population that can growth of China and African emissions from these simple when will still rise and can't solve consumption convincing poetry and reproductions and consumptions impossible. So that's 2014 impossible in the real world that leaders would persuade those in poverty to remain or convince for the vast majority of really Jews and would be political as believe otherwise would be Masonic. If faith in supernatural persuasion of Jesus cannot convince everyone to give up their possessions unlike easy growth as well. It is a consortium of reasoning to argue that a conversation that a little bit deliberate reception is not and they all said zero support and the cause of fascist fractions while 23 anti-revolution of has a side of chains of power could only be by a global dictator that is unrealistic supposed to growth of DC's mission would follow when they purchase and would not solve to achieve zero eliminate all energy but it would have required reversal of all effort devastating well-being political because of the industrial war was under nourishment and starvation over centuries of population and destitution felt 10% radical alternatives to Soviet solution come only from tech that eliminates GHGs. The Wolf 23 card is tech that eliminates GHGs. It's like halfway through the card. And I'm good for caustics for now.
Alright.
Good?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good.
Part of your answer to like I think it was like the Cote evidence is what you referred to as, right? You said that like we need to like still keep the lights on, but it's like what does the AFF do because it just gets rid of subsidies, but it doesn't replace it doesn't advocate for new forms of energy, so it's like how do we still keep the lights on?
So our argument is that the affirmative does not collapse other energy sources. This was the one you see Crossex's argument about we do not use biomass into the US for energy sources, we just export it to Europe and Asia. But this argument is a diss out to the alternative. The Wolf evidence describes how the alternative would require eliminating all energy sources. You have made arguments for why we cannot shift to renewables because it causes mining, which is unjust. And you have said we also cannot continue doing things like using fossil fuels.
But it's like, what does the AFF do to keep the lights on for like people of color who are like in energy poverty? Because if you don't, then it's like you don't get any offense on how like.
It's a diss out to the alternative. We have made a claim for why
so it's just a diss out to the alt, but the AFF doesn't need to solve it.
What?
The AFF doesn't need to solve it.
It's what?
How does
like neither? I don't understand the premise of the question because only the alternative collapses energy properly.
That's fine. The card. Well, I guess my next question is like the card you talked about that says that like mining is preferable to like fossil fuels. Like, why should we let mining happen in the DRC just because like it's preferable to like fossil
Aaron
fuels?
and Jacobson evidence says that we can shift mining of renewables away from the DRC. That we have neodymium within the United States.
But it's like how does the AFF do that?
Because it's just about
I don't
biomass.
think it's an argument that like the AFF causes
Well,
that shift.
I mean,
We've
you
made a
kind of
presentation
have to make
argument
that
about
argument.
Europe
Otherwise,
is
you're just
shifting
corner
towards.
chopping lives just because you feel like it.
No,
So
we've
it's
made
like-
an argument about why Europe is shifting towards renewables now. They're continuing mining. You
Okay,
have read
does
evidence that
the
says they're doing that in the status
okay,
quo.
does the app inspire that?
Probably not.
Okay, then. All right. I guess like you said that on the alternative, you said that like indigenous demands were key, right? But like which indigenous demands and from who?
The 1AC evidence, we've read a slew of scenarios, or a slew of evidence in the 1AC on Advantage 2 that cites indigenous and black communities that have explicitly advocated
Which
for the
ones?
affirmative.
Which ones?
I'm not sure, like, in
Go-
specific groups, we can
Yeah, like,
read
see,
it
this
part
is
of
the
the 1
problem.
AR
It's like you don't
documents.
know who you're talking about. All right,
It's
can,
like-
can you give me a line in the 1AC that says like which specific groups and communities that you have aligned yourselves with?
I'm not sure about, like, a specific
How are you
group.
not sure? It's
We
your
can
1AC.
read
What's
test-
new?
If this debate comes down to whether or not there are testimonials, we will read those
Can-
in the
can
1
you-
AR.
can you, like,
But the
answer
1AC
the
has not
question?
made an argument about why those are
Yeah,
key.
yeah, yeah. Look, I don't care about you skirting around the question. Can you just like answer it?
Like, the 1AC says that there are a variety of groups that have made
Blah blah
explicit
blah. Which
demands.
groups? Like which groups?
Like,
The
I'm not sure of
1AC
names.
has not specified specific
That's
groups,
fine.
but rather
Yeah, that's
large swaths of violence that happens across.
Alright, you're good. I'm good.
Like
So 819.
839.
Wait,
Or 819.
Yeah,
you said 839.
Is it 39 or 19?
819.
819.
Oh,
Sorry,
fuck, I already said it. But
my bad.
Eight 19 starting now.
Yeah, that would be the correct word. That's what I'm saying. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Besides like picks, are there any other theoretical reasons to reject the team?
Nope. y'all's other rounds been?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not really trying to talk to you right now. I don't know what's funny about that.
Oh, I was looking
No,
at DeMarvin.
I
So.
did.
DeMarvin, how have the rounds you've been judging been?
Yo. Fuck.
I guess it's a rehighlight.
Is it cards?
Yeah, it's one card and rehighlight. I'm about to send her. Uh, 504 left. It's gonna be the critique and then case. I'm sending cards out, rehighlighting and one card.
So have we like? Okay. Are we dubbing?
So my bad. Advantage 2. Is that your question?
Sacrifice them?
Are we dubbing the first advantage where the Kandani and the cone evidence and all that stuff? Are we dubbing that the K flow now?
That was originally. I don't know why he said.
No, because on y'all
Case.
docket said case. That's why.
He said he wasn't supposed to say case, but he said case.
Okay.
So I don't know how you have it labeled. You can either do advantage 1 as the K, or you can just leave it as advantage.
Well, the 2AC and the 1C treated advantage 1 as the K flow.
Actually, you know what makes more sense? Advantage 1, advantage 2. That makes more sense.
That makes so much
That's
sense.
what I'm saying, right? It's sent, by the way.
So that's the only thing case?
I
Yes.
have not-
Oh, this is my first ever only case 2NC. That's great.
I have not gotten it yet.
It's sent, not the one.
We had fun.
There, I just got it. Let me count.
Eight rounds.
Okay. Do you have anything? Yep.
Never again.
We're good.
He doesn't want to. I haven't gotten this out yet. But.
6 rounds.
Oh, what?
Hell yeah.
What happened? Has it always been?
It's always been 6. Well, since everybody else was 6, we ain't changed.
I don't like the 8 round full doubles.
Cry me a river. Let's get to it.
We'll do.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
No, we struggle.
That should just make me feel old. Like, man, 8 rounds in a full double? Like, that's how every tournament used to be.
Kurt, are you just doing it off the flow? Because I've been doing like the same thing every time I judge, where it's like, I don't want to look at your doc, my eyes hurt. It's like, I'm just going to use paper.
Yeah, well, usually I have my computer up and read along, but my
Well, shit.
But, well, it's also just like, it equalizes if I'm not reading anybody's stuff.
I got carpal tunnel. I wish I could not have, but I can't. I judge too many debates in a row. My hands stuck like this.
Oh, the names are quick. I'm a much better flow on paper than I am.
Yeah, me too.
You know, I have arthritis.
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 Great. Okay, are we all good?
I'm not.
Nah, he's
You're
doing
not good?
good.
Well, yeah, I see this, bro. Like, I'm not making it.
Why does it happen every other time? Because it's like every other speech. Check your spam. That's Ethan.
No, I'm saying like Scott. There you go.
No. Ethan in person.
No, I know Ethan. I'm just saying like Scott. That's the reason we got it on time. I just go, bro. See? The moment I thought about Scott, man.
Yo.
I'm just saying. That's what he is. Very cool.
Yeah,
You say about the ancestors? No. Alright, so you said Avengers 1 and Avengers 2, right?
Yeah.
Alright,
Okay, you got it?
yeah, more or less.
Yeah.
Alright. Candace, you good? Alright, start from second.
Continuous thesis of the rebreathing evidence will be damning for them in this debate. This debate is not about the hypothetical implementation and plan, but rather it's about the competitive incentive of you suffering for wins. Debate is not a radical place for policymakers. It's only a place that can garner wins and launch for ivory tower teams like Kansas. But our argument is that you should use the space create to build ethical education throughout the community. Devon, when you and NEG asked Georgetown the finals of the 2017 NET win, is the first slide saying as a result of the affirmative, they act not because they're interested in the app, but the active choice to constantly speak for people who are not in the fucking room and role playing the policymakers who attempt to corrupt suffering to get about it for Kansas. Live other people in Stockton, etc., are not something you can admit around and use you can this, but they will forget about it after the RFD, which means you should vote negative to reject their affirmation and cooperate with other people. The debate does not produce policymakers, it does not change the way policymakers look at policies, and the ballot does not represent a change in the material status quo. Therefore, you can think of the app's current content and literature is good, but reject your call for the win, protecting the dead is a form of wick work that forces you to stay in the hole in the body of duty to protect the dead and people in this face from grave robbing. But racial capital and politics are multiple factors: increase climate change and global warming kills people, it makes life uninhabitable, it kills the ecosystem biodiversity, which turns to impact, which kills our ability to sustain food chains and the environment we need to live. It causes extreme poverty, makes life unlivable for millions, it causes pandemic. But it says by monopoly to gatekeep our vaccines for profit, which answers our the card they read because it doesn't assume profit and market incentives, and that makes the global south more susceptible to disease. And if nuclear war never will do increase rates of hegemony, that's all the drop warrants from one to see could not the evidence you should prioritize existential risk for black and brown people in outweighs and turns the case because it makes them one system back inevitable. Only something undetermined can solve. Now the Murray evidence one is wrong. Yes, international relations and truth is dominated by sexual racial economy. The card does not assume is not a flattening but historically accurate because the U.S. was only conceived by white colonialism and enslaving the black people, which they conceded weren't out the academic evidence. Also, they say security is good. Traditional IR cannot explain or provide solutions to climate change. Kansas is good that 1920 traditional IR cannot explain energy security, not providing how to do with the reality, crossing out the refusing, make out of implementation, make it difficult to say, translation of solution, bringing something not saying, make it secure energy policy, implication for it. Well, that's all your argument needs to do with historical gun, use possibly energy security for the coming decades. A, tax is good, that's better than the alternative. Could revert their calls to do fake shit in this round outside to the real world would prove that tax is only possible through the alternative, but also say renewables good. No, it's not good. Our evidence not assume cohesive labor practices in the Congo, which is a drop a warrant coming out. The gross evidence means that voting affirmative requires you to justify renewable, which is unethical to reject the team. Now framework go to now interpretation that you should evaluate the see the research project to clarify the meaning do not guard off of the hypothetical implementation of the plan, but about its representation in this round. One, impact on fairness or call to run the fairness of the violation of procedural norms, the racist dog whistle created by the back rooms of the PRL that attempts to escape accountability for other in the space whenever minorities call you out for violence. They're always seen as unfair because of the attempt to change the oppressive condition of this debate, but also is infinitely regressive, unquantifiable. There's no way to determine what is sufficiently fair or unfair because our affirmative interpretation is a norm, not a rule. You can not measure fairness, mean that you should reject or call to weaponize fairness against us. Also, interpretation is more fair though. Not for next teams to question the foundation. The one seen the AFF is often based on their scholarship and epistemology when they get the way versus negative. Also refer reasonability. AFF have infinite preference in the last speech, and they broke new would mean that they should have been prepared to defend the representation which is coordinate ground. The crux of good class debate. Also, there's no fairness paradox. The French one liberatory does not get rid of speech time, but our moral debate. They want to bring the status quo to maintain oppression against debate with color, and our clash is better. Our affirmative teams to garner offense on representation and epistemological benefits and not use suffering for one, which creates conversation on ontological roots or advocacy. Also, reject your interpretation. One, fiat is illustrating doesn't have when you vote out, means that using fiat has no educational backing because hypothetical sets do not reflect the real world. It's impossible to determine the consequence for any hypothetical plan and so falsifiable. Also, there's going to be the body politics just that hide your scholarship behind weighing the consequence of the plan is disassembled. Disembodied form of body politics would enable role playing the state would disconnect actors from the ground struggle and prevent active change outside this round that impacts on the topic education argument because it proves that debaters will do nothing about that education or what that education will make words after this post affirmative. Now, fiat is loosely definitely get idea of the bubble. A will be bond proximity, valid proximity. The only thing the ballot can endorse is the research project of the ONC, and not a material consequence means that production cannot because it means production because the app cannot spill outside space. Also, climate complicity, just have fiat in the app, and discussing the hypothetical invitation of climate policy making enable debaters to discuss a political imaginary in debate or a political imaginary a debate that supposedly solve climate change, and then go home and continue to be complicit in environmental destruction, weighing the AFF form of several guilt persuasion that continue complicity in global warming by detaching yourself from unethical research of the AFF. Also, is more reward policymakers and advocates of scrutinized for rhetoric. Or it takes it all the time to prove that we're more reward, but also winning a link to the AFF means you vote negative because it means that AFF is built upon slavery colonization, or at least the logic of it, which is responsible for climate change, which turns the case in. The state also is not inevitable because the AFF's alternative state collapse in permacrisis. Also, you link to use as good because the AFF was racist. They should lose obviously because they create word activists, but the reason why the moral debate is bad and them not disclosing for the rest of the cards and emblematic policymakers who hide their hand for climate policy, but those are the same politicians who create sacrifice cells in the interim, i.e. we will give you renewable energy but does not account for those in Congo who will die because of this. Is the ethical reason for seeing the permutation debate go to now when they definitely not get the perm. One, all links to disadvantage of the permutation, improve competition. Two, the alternative is to reject the app. There's no way you can vote app and reject the app if you cannot explain the permutation. To me, the RFD, you should not vote for them. Also, three, cross-body body politics is happening from above the perm. We require disembodied politicians to hypothetically implement the plan, which is a form of unembodied politics that would separate debaters from the reward. Now, the card concedes
It would hurt black farm owners if this type of interpretation improves every farm for black people, prove they did not consent or act in, which is the fourth quote. That's to prove to the evidence. I will summarize here. Says that for black forest owners, they will have to choose between sustainable farming or forest relations to prove that it's a forced choice. Now, like they go to now one having faith in the white people in the government will solve climate change. The pro optimism, massive liberty, mental house that's code evidence is not pathology because our argument is that the ways in which the state presents to the ethical actor allows us to do more insane shit outside, i.e. we will stop biomass fuels, but we will go mine more in the Congo, we will create more oil, etc., which are all things the African not solve, but incentivized because our argument is that they're more emboldened to do it because they're dominated by a sexual racial economy that is built off of not only the colonization of black people, but also the monetary incentive to exploit the environment. It proves the turn case argument. The next argument that I did the work above on the overview, the really evidence I will extend it because it's really good. The ask rhetorical reality generally fascist societies, i.e. they can Russian black people in their cars using that tokenization, but then you're going to say extinction outweighs all, which proves that structural violence should come first, and you reject their impact algorithm. You should reject their apocalyptic framework, means that you can vote negative without having to do that part of the app. The interconvergence stuff, one, I will extend it. The one you see form of legal liberalism is a form of interconvergence that force reforces colonial nations, and the radicalized third world nations demand for structural transformation and climate justice. Their attempts to upload great population in the form of finally help that great intervention politics, i.e. the example of the permanent highlighted above, the ways in which they can violently intervene in black farm owners, i.e. by saying that they have to choose between biomass farming or their job, which is a form of violent often to turn the case, but also is the impact turned to their moral debate to prove that they are disembodied and allow for research advocates that say that make for choices for black people, which either is poverty or extinction, which shit that they not cause. The tipping point argument they conceded. The common evidence said that ecological tipping points are passed to breakthrough proves that only alternative has a measure to evaluate outside instead of the inside, because evaluating the inside is not calibration of tipping points. The alternative, go to it now when the alternative is to reject the AFF as a form of wake work. It's simple as performing the act of wake work is a dedication to protecting those from the dead and from archival rummaging and protecting our dead inside, outside the space from being defiled by Kansas for corporate to be defiled and cooperative for suffering suffering and representation for Kansas now. The negative, voting negative rejects the attempt to use the suffering of black, brown, indigenous, Latino people for once in debate. That's all the app because there is no reason why winning app is key in this debate, which means that you should think their scholarship is good, but reject their call to win off it because winning off of it is winning off the dead and that's unethical form of necropolitics. That's the case because it makes climate change more likely, i.e. the idea that we can see people as consumable is what allows for climate change to happen, which is the evidence to prove that we have an internal link to their arguments. The next argument we will make is that it is a general refusal of the app, willing for them to debate doesn't do anything, but rather is a form of environments will get exploited, which is violent in the form of policy that forces you to make Kansas feel good for talking about black people once, because they chose not to talk to us every day, versus us, they don't talk to us, proves that the only time we'll talk about black people is when they can win off of black people, which is an impact not only to the moral debate, but everything else. So the fiat stuff is obviously not true. We don't fiat that more people pass the plan, but rather our argument is that you should be that you should embody yourself by disembodying yourself, i.e. you should not be able to win off of black people and black suffering if you're not black yourself, and you should not be able to comprehend it. So obviously we don't fiat this thing, rather we felt that black people can do the plan. I say it can't solve, obviously it's not contextual to the alternative, means that you should reject it. The consumption stuff, one, they're saying that convincing voluntary land abruptly reduction in consumption is impossible. Our argument is that the permanent highlighting disproves the subpoena 24 evidence. The next argument they made is that it would be worse performing. This is victim blaming. Obviously the alternative is not worse for climate change, but it's a way they can weaponize black arguments against black debaters and say when we try to call them out, oh, you caused more climate change, which is violent form of politics that proves the co-option only turns back more violence against black people in debate, which is violent. Go to the second, or also the crackdown office, obviously not the app, and we don't call it masturbation, you cross-apply the victim blaming subheaded above the independent reason reject team. Now, the case, debate problem, I don't have to, yes, no climate leadership, but obviously the Chevron turn definitely turns the case, i.e. the app is so vague, they don't talk about where they ended, the process of biofuels, etc., which is exactly what allows for Chevron to overturn the case. They have the Tweety, there's not really a piece of evidence that determines that or proves that you should err negative on the Chevron turn because they have not read a card that proves otherwise. Chevron will allow for companies or the Supreme Court or courts generally to circumvent the plan, which causes circumvention. They don't get durable fiat because this is about the post-plan implementation. Durable fiat is bad, and you should reject the team for it because utopian fiat and creates a super fucking like biomass app no one can beat. Like our links are about the post-implementation plan, not about its implementation broadly.
Are you good for cross-ex?
Yeah.
I want to start where you left off on circumvention. Biofuels, or biomass, is not a profitable industry. What incentive would companies have post-affirmative?
So why do people do it?
Because there are subsidies that make it profitable.
So
the subsidies give British companies billions of dollars, which is why.
So it's not profitable for the U.S. at all.
Sorry?
It's not profitable for the U.S. at all.
Well, like the U.S. gets money from the British companies.
But does the U.S. profit off of it? Would the U.S. lose money off of it?
Like with subsidies?
Would the U.S. lose money post-plan? Yes.
Would they lose biomass? Yes, but if they didn't,
okay, exactly my point. Circumvention. Like what? They don't want to lose money.
That doesn't make sense to me. The crackdown argument. I just missed the warrant for why crackdown was a reason to reject the team.
It's victim blaming. The alternative obviously doesn't cause crackdown. You haven't made a warrant for why it's true. Your cards are protected to the alternative.
Does the alternative do anything other than reject the team or reject us and vote negative?
It does a lot of things. It performs a duty to the dead and those who are not here, the ones that you've disavowed, not only us, but also all the other UDO kids you've disavowed through your model of debate.
Does it prevent a transition towards renewables?
Why are you asking about that question?
Well, because you have read a link of why a transition towards renewables is bad. I'm wondering if the alt solves that link.
Well, I mean, it depends. Like, we can say, like, you know, people who you spotted or at least named in your movement can do the app, but we don't think you get to. So, maybe.
Framework?
I mean, like, you'll be like, Picks Bad will be like, you didn't disclose the app, so, like.
For the framework,
What?
your interpretation of an object of research, can we weigh the advantages to the app against the K?
Not if you use suffering reputation for wins. But generally, no, because we think we've won a couple of indicts that proves that you've recreated an effective sexual economy, so no.
Okay, so
Like,
what
you could
comes
hypothetically
first
make it wrong.
before we can evaluate the advantages that we read?
That your research is good, your research is ethical, your research prioritizes people of color, black, brown, indigenous people, but we don't think it does that because voting app doesn't do anything for you in debate. It only gives 2 white debaters one candidates a win. They can go out and debate the next black debate team, read it, and then be like, oh, we beat a bunch of black people by talking about black people for once.
So legal.
Like the other question, like you don't read this app versus the other teams. Like you only saw me and you're like, oh shit, it's a black dude. We're gonna read the black app and get the win over.
We're gonna read the app in the future. The legalism
Oh,
argument,
sure you
we
will.
will.
Okay.
The legalism
Yeah, sure.
link. How does the affirmative justify interventions?
What do you mean? I'm confused. What's the
I'm
argument?
just confused what the link is for how the app causes interventions, given we've not made a liberal.
So, for example, the re-highlighting of the perm card proves that you make a forced choice for black people, i.e., it's a form of interconvergence where a politician can say, oh, well, this issue is affecting black people, let's do something about it. And your perm evidence concludes that, well, it'll be a forced choice and forces black farm owners to choose between keeping a job and saving the environment when those are things they're never responsible for in the first place. Like, you thought you read a crazy perm card, but the end of it is like, oh, yeah, it'll be a forced choice and that's bad.
Body politics, why is there a trade-off between fiating government in this debate and creating change outside of debate?
Because it is a form of guilt assuaging. Like, i.e., you can be like, oh, like, you know, let me go, you know, read this app and debate, but then drive that big ass KU van that's like, gas powered. What? That's fine. We're at 5:04.
Y'all buy candles? Burn candles? Burn candles? Candles?
Anybody know about rocks?
No. Let me spread it on. Look. Let me spread it on business real quick.
You got rocks? I'll be shit. You know rocks? Rocks? Yeah.
Compacted dirt.
Okay, never mind. That's all I do.
4:17.
Follow me on IG for real? Yo, follow me back. You follow me back? This is my business. Follow me.
Yeah.
This is
So, can I get a free sample?
a sample?
I'll send out the cards
You
in
get on the mail list, and we send an additional sample. And if you buy a candle, we'll send you wax melts. I'm big on all that. For real. I'm sure it's real.
No, you go to tell me, bro. You gonna have things that you put?
I'm definitely buying candles. I don't know when people come down. I'm sure that's good. We'll see.
Oh, is there cards?
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, maybe. Y'all made this afternoon.
I'm sorry, I'm late for the last like 40 seconds.
Oh, we just took prep, but I'm gonna compile the cards.
We have 4:60.
Okay, I'm good. I'm gonna send out the cards. History Month procedural, and then case advantage 2.
Teenage first, right?
Yep. Well, I guess like I'll start on like theory and like pick problem. Yeah.
But I need these stories.
All good.
What if they were speaking comes from right?
You do like rate my
That's a
professor.
really good idea.
You can do that for the shirt. You can do rate my professor, but from judges, they judge.
Huh?
You know, you ever see rate my professor?
Oh, rate my yeah, we should
do
Rate
rate my
my
professor.
judge.
No, rate my judges.
But what is it based off of?
I mean,
That would get really toxic real quick.
Oh yeah.
That would be mad toxic. And I love
That would be
it.
horrible.
Wow.
It'd be so funny for like the first 5 minutes, they just get
No,
absolutely.
but we have to like
horrendous.
take off. We have to like have a login like on tab room, so you like ain't no anonymous quote, ain't no Twitter
Oh.
things. You gotta stand on it. You
Okay, I
gotta
kind of
say
like
some
this
shit,
idea.
stand on it.
You gotta say.
I'm just saying. I'll let you know how I feel. I think you need to flow better.
Hey, bro, relax.
Devontae
like,
couldn't
you don't
open
understand
docs.
things.
27.5.
You don't
You
use
never
Google
voted
Docs?
condo.
I'm sorry?
You don't use Google Docs to flow?
No, but you do.
Hell no. Imagine.
No, I got the worst flow template up here for sure. I got the
Bro, look at my flow template, bro. My shit just got colored, bro.
Mine just got covered.
Mine got colored. But the background,
No, you got background color. Mine is white, red, and blue ink.
exactly. You can differentiate. I still got black. Anyways, I'm gonna die.
There's nothing good around my
Yeah.
I just typed it.
Nope.
Whoa. My fault, Kurt. Alright, what next?
Alright. Theory, pick proper, and then case. Okay, cool. Kansas, good.
Our interpretation is that we get to run picks on the condition that we have a solvency advocate that both criticizes their arguments and offers a new one to solve for error impacts identified as the best interpretation. One argument and refinement finding specific criticisms of certain performances that the 1EC engages in, and then forces them to research every aspect of the 1EC, and when they lose on it, they're incentivized to go back to the drawing board and refine their arguments, which it makes them engage in Latina History Month better, which means you can just vote negatives to celebrate Latina Heritage Month, whether it's finding a card of defense or no, whether it's finding a card of defense. That's the most portable thing we take from debate and writing well-crafted essays to be more informed, etc. To reclaim agency, it makes a lot for marginalized people to reclaim agency against people who use slurs or messed up words against them. That's good because it asserts humanity for those who has always been denied, and then it picks encourage intercommunity debates over the use of certain words, such as and debates over whether or not we should use the word Chicano when referring to Mexican Americans. Those debates are going to have because it allows for discussions between people of color that creates revolutionary debates. And 3, we change research practices for the better. Debaters historically change the way and they argue that they engage their performance every time they are historically called out of words. The most real world policies go through multiple revisions before they are passed. Each constitution creates a new version, which is not the same as the old one. And 5, infinite perhaps solves, and they broke new, which is a justification for picks being good. And 6 is predictable. Every pick is justifiable and require evidence to be cut, which means that they just need to research and the one see how it relates to the Latina Heritage Month, and their interpretation is terrible for debate. One argument and refinement and reclaiming agency are both disasters to their model, and 2 is not fair. It arbitrarily takes away negative ground because picks they can take away an entire affirmative policy. Think of an app that says we must reorient the way we view structural violence, and then uses slur in the exact same speech that moves role the negative and makes debate infinitely harder. Framing issue education comes first. The only valuable thing we take out of this debate space is how to learn research better, which is a question of the pedagogy we explored into their notions of fairness. Only risk privileging the white heteronormative views that was on the framework stuff. You could cross apply that as offense as to how their model of debate is bad. Go to the pick proper. Wait, actually no. Back on theory. They said that they debate themselves, but no, they don't debate themselves because we have made arguments as to how they should relate the 1EC's performance to Latina Heritage Month, which is key. Otherwise, it creates erasure, which will be more on the pick. You can go to the pick proper now. To Chicago, Newark, Detroit, and Huntington Park, we would like to honor again the following Latina people: Jay-Z, Flores, Luis, and Brenda, Carlos, Gio, Tristan, Morales, Jay-Z, Beats, and other countless people. We would also like to honor Jose Santos, Jose Gonzalez, and Cindy, Marisol, vote negatives to celebrate Latina Heritage Month, and have me and Curtis do the ab. That solves our interpretation is to vote for who honors and best engages in the history of Latina Heritage Month. They conceded that our evidence solves with Latina people, solves for the entirety of the 1EC provides spaces that allow for more environmental activism, and solves erasure that the app only furthers within the space. They only rep defense of the 2EC. That means that you should hold the 1ER to shitty theory arguments that don't make sense and only erases Latina people from the space groups from those who have been honored outside of the debate community that creates the spaces for like groups like Azul for Ocean Conservation for Beach Access to Latino People Corazon, Latino that is a national department for grassroots organization ECHO, encourages climate decision making green for all, Green Latinos are national coalitions for climate justice, the Hispanic Federation of Latino endorse and LULAC inspire environmental education, Mi Familia Vota, and Sumatra bills are green and green energy economies and policies which also want to see and engages the history that strikes back on Latina erasure and framing the issue of the way we are, we have to argue the way we, we have to argue the way we engage Latina debaters that is derived from UDL people in UDL and Lambda don't want to debate here that produces structural exclusion. The performative whiteness is their arguments are performative whiteness that is marked by cultural powers. Marvin, you come from Wake but have strong ties to Chicago UDL. You have a unique role in this debate, even though you attend Wake. Our argument is that the voting negative solves because they have been performatively messed up to Latina debaters that justifies exclusionary practices that otherwise Latina debaters excludes Latina debaters from this space. And there are not many of us here, which means that it's a voter and a reason to reject the team. And you should vote for the best strategies for Latina debaters. Devon, you have ties to UDL kids and know that the traditional debate disavows them through teams like Kansas, which means that you should obviously vote negative because people are definitely going to watch this round that will inspire UDL people, which is the reason why the ballot is key. And current voting for Kansas makes you complicit in the same big school taxes that your own team uses versus UDL debaters and debaters of color. That this debate in the debate community because UDL kids go to the Michigan camp, they feel excluded and second class because they are not TLC caliber for lab leaders. And cross-apply the relational tipping points argument here. If we win, that they have fucked up relationalities to Latina people in this space, which we will argue. That means that tipping points are the have passed. That makes climate change worse because it means that we never have ethical relationships to marginalized community in this space, which it means that all of the ballot key arguments means that if we can prove that our relations are good to Latina people and heritage, Latina Heritage Month, that means that we're better for climate change through the PEG, and they don't get to say that. And they said permutation one, like this had any justification of argument. That sounds like just steals the labor of the one it seeks to call to honor Latina Heritage Month and erase any attempt at actually engaging the history and legacy of Latina activism. All they said was, haha, we can honor Latina History Month, but they never said who are we honoring, why are we engaging this. They never explained why those things, why the one you see engages with them. Think about the cross-sex moment when I asked them who are the specific groups they're engaging, and they couldn't list any of them, which means that you should hold them to the one you see. They should explain how the one you see alone and its mechanisms are changed and go specifically engaged in that liberation, but they obviously didn't, so you should vote negative. On the ballot, they said we're a commodification, but no, our arguments are generative, that was above, and they obviously commodified for the ballot, but we have made justifications as to how we honor Latina Heritage Month, and their theory arguments justify more exclusion. Shreelo 21, they're halfway through, and we're halfway through Latina people celebrate power this month, historically their voices and versus Latina communities have been excluded and 9/11 or reviving nation environments are welcoming, and the state of people, Latina people, the visible memorial is happening as a order, climate change policies, climate change fields, honoring me, remember the power, and then my family community using hope this month, and so the Latina voices in their communities are raising their ongoing leadership contributions and innovations, and they conceded they only read the defense on the Knopper evidence. That means that having Curtis do the app solved because it means that we should center the voices of marginalized communities. Otherwise, you can't just do fucked up shit by saying we should engage Latina debaters, but never explain how. That obviously disavows the legacy and the scholarship that Latina debaters have had here. Go to Advantage True now. The Chevron turn is true. There's a double bind. Either A, the negative, that specifies what specifically they do after the plan, which means that we get all our links to renewable energy and oil links, or they don't, which means ambiguity circumvents the movement. Yeah.
Oh, what's the author that you asked?
Yeah, my bad.
Oh,
I don't think I sent the card. I'll send it out right now.
Thank you.
Oh, you saying your watch list?
It's just one part. I'll just send it. Make sure I get that.
Wait, Devin, can you come back and watch the tuna? Oh, you're judging? Oh, okay. Alright. My bad.
If you don't like the candles from the volume, you make me blush.
Oh, I haven't even checked it.
You're gonna be jealous when you got these candles.
Yep, I got it. 5:39.
Yeah, we have a mail list. We officially dropped it on October. I'm telling you, it's not a scam.
No, I see. Nah, that's crazy. You said that. That's what I dropped?
Yeah.
It's cool.
of it?
No.
Yes. Still prepping, but almost done.
No, just go.
Just go. Okay. 107. That was bad typing too. I'll go grab them.
Other card.
No. Okay.
I'll just, yeah. That's it.
Oh, yeah, same here.
Damn, that was crazy. That was crazy.
Alright, thanks.
He said, me too. Oh, give it to me then.
Oh, I thought it was a 2v2. Whoa.
I got Gatorade. Chill. I got it. Chill.
Alright. What's the word?
Advantage 2, pick advantage
1, 2, 3. Where do you want apple pie?
We're floating the same debate?
Is there a moment? Yeah.
No, there's no
Okay, I was about to say, you saved like 7 minutes. Alright.
Oh,
Does this start at the chevron?
It's gonna have a small overview and there's the chevron stuff. Forced violence denotes the logic of cyber zone, subjecting black and indigenous communities to referee to direct violence in explicit form, provided presence that not to be reversed as conflict outweighs the large portion of their offense will try to get off of winning extraction of violence and out of the world of the alternative. The AFF is unique to stop one of those actions being not mutually exclusive, nor does it link to anything they said. The Chevron stuff. 1, they do not understand Chevron any substance. A congressional action on an executive agency action. Chevron will apply to agency defers to the Supreme Court. The EPA does not do anything with the AFF, which is irrelevant to this. B, durable fiat solves makes me a question, but should, not would. If it's a question of would, makes it impossible to be affirmative because it's always a question of would politicians vote for the AFF. It never happened. Means we don't learn about the AFF now. The picks are bad to steal the 1AC. They make it possible to the AFF because anything you can just read about. Add as kills, topic education, can have discussions of the content of the AFF versus the offense. When the name is just AFF versus AFF, sex and deck and for the NEG gives them unreasonably easy win condition makes it impossible to win on the AFF because there's no offense we get to generate. The versus actions that are just the 1AC again, top level, all the arguments they answer, the bring the evidence also applies here. The pick links to all their offensive causes. Commodification makes the battle of our affirmative on how best to promote black team heritage for the next one. As a way, as a Sasha, you and our skills, that means that you would vote negative and say that you've done all the work and you need to do to support electing people and resolve violence without doing anything material. Every argument on the K is the reason why for all the punchers have links to this argument because they name dropped the team people and said that voting AF does, or NEG does that, but does not have a mechanism to actually do that. It means that white debaters like us would just say at the top of the 1AC list of black team people without changing anything about the 1AC, anything we do outside of debate. They're often about inspiring people is inevitable, but they haven't made an explanation about why attaching the ballot to the pick is key. Debaters will watch the round and learn regardless of the ballot, which is why there's 25 people in the back of the round, but attaching the ballot to the pick causes all of our offense. We meet the interpretation of the 1AC as a horror. Honors of the black team communities in North Carolina, Alabama, California that have spoken up at the public hearings and interviews about the harm that biomass production has caused. Their picks bad stuff. Picks aren't key to any of their offense. It doesn't justify their pick debaters who say slurs would inevitably lose regardless of picks. Breaking news does not justify picks. Otherwise, they contest the 1AC conceded functional limits on T, which solves that argument because they get the state's counterplaying critiques and everything else. Pick doesn't turn case. We have unique offense of the education they have being good. The K. Oh, advantage 1 second. Warming, locks, and extinction due to confluence of taking place to make Earth uninhabitable. It's linear. Each threshold of information is reduction driving to reduce extinction. That's the line of evidence outweighs because the criticism because human life is intrinsic good and voting the negative. Alleged the biomass industry propaganda that climate change should be on the back foot of research projects is rock solid. Broad criticism on climate misinformation use that can be made as a mode of researching social consensus on the existence and magnitude of climate change. The DSRB stuff talked about people outside debate is good. It is that educational activity is valuable to learn about things that are affecting non-white people. We don't have to leave this room for good debate. We can learn from content of the debate, the Agathangelo stuff. We don't need to win. Keep climate change. We don't have a liberalism claim or leadership claim. Is a irrelevant claim framework. The ballot is recommending the hypothetical consequences of the plan. Links between plans and finish between all that casually solves our hard conclusion of the plan, including that solves is key to clash. Comparing opportunity causes critical create argumentative refinement, engaging in literature, prerequisite making. They're often portable. Absent clash and rigorous academic testing. Nothing is vetted for viability. Their interpretation leads to our offense consequences are the only way that we can evaluate the question of what engagement is best. Their interpretation skirts it away for just research practice that makes it the functional you link you lose makes it impossible to actually get in clash. We're not going for fairness. It means that none of the stuff is applicable or cross apply. They do not make an argument in the two and see why they could cross apply to clash. clash means any two, and our argument gets neutral. Our answer is a clash outweighs stuff. Their clash is worse because it's not. It is a question of having conversations, but having debates. If we turn like have the ability to know what arguments are going to be made and how we can argue those sides. We don't get to weigh the act. It's just a one-sided conversation where they say everything, we don't get anything. Boost advocacy, our interpretation turns advocacy boosting because we can compare advocacy, which is key. Fiat is good unless we're matching future scenarios. We have action. We have to take evaluating the actual consequences of that action. The model without the efforts, also questions of would rather than true. We turn debates into would random politicians support the plan when those debates are horrible. Like the NEG win will rate 100%. Obviously, they actions get implemented when you vote app. But if the discussion of the app is a good idea, it's the reason why. It's that, but consequences is the only way to evaluate if the app's good is a good political action. It's the way to tell if it's a good thing that we ought to do. The role playing. We are not role playing the government. I did find a good argument. If you win, that argument is good. If research practice is good, that's all that's irrelevant. Porno trophy stuff. It doesn't answer any consequences. The way to get the research practice. The last argument is the climate complexity stuff. Where you're not settler Gale because we're action to stop settler violence, which turns all their offense. And ours is a mode of real world ability to evaluate consequences. Only our interpretation can solve the impact of settler violence. There's just talks about research. It doesn't do anything about it. Permutation do both. The app is a state action that inhibits a form of state initiated environmental racism. It is not mutually inclusive with the alternative agreement through the link turn subsidies or bioforce biomass undermined black force, which operates as a form of black communities within racial capitals and continue deforestation operates intentionally to harm black indigenous communities as a continuation of plantation power, demanding removal of these subsidies as an opportunity to both stop the mass ecological threat and slow violence and continue deforestation. That's clear for the first argument. The all reject the app. The permutation just be the way we're part of the affirmative or the alternative with the app. If we win, there's not a link or a disadd to the affirmative reason that not reject the app. Means you cannot win this argument. Body politics doesn't apply. They not have a ward for this. Perm argument. The DSUB answers also apply equally. The rehighlighting is irrelevant. This is we have not created a fortress because the 1AC has said that they have made the decision to want to get rid of biomass subsidies, which is they cannot get the second black landowners have other ways of livelihood, which is ruined by biomass subsidies. That it solves the argument, which is the parallel evidence first from all the links. If there's a consequence of the efforts, it's not. There's a reason you cannot vote negative and the link turn outweighs the white environmentalism stuff. No link and drop the bodies of the Congo status quo inevitable. Plus the efforts and consequences of biomass second drop the energy. Just energy is good and we need to be able to have it in order to survive. Otherwise, it becomes a massive fitness. The social violence that turns all their offers of early evidence. While we do not rescue black people, but treat their names with ferocity. Their interpretations. People never talk about the names of black people in debates and just ignoring them entirely. B drop that this evidence flows out. It's a hegemonic climate policy includes things like ending biomass subsidies or includes biomass subsidies with the app names the liberals and link. No link. We're not about climate leadership. We have not made the law invaded, which doesn't matter. Taking one step one is not passive people. It's invisible. They're invisible and constant. The line is drop. The climate securitization is good because it is only established through resolving climate violence by calculating the damage portraying climate change is that existential threat is key to motivate action in the face of apathy. That's the 11 evidence. The alternative does not cannot solve global emissions. The U.S. may be the largest economy, but it's not the largest emitter. China, India, Africa contribute exponentially more than the U.S. Meaning the alternative can only resolve. So I'm warning that Stein, the correct answer of not a reason to break the team. One, not going for it. Two, it's also the alternative. But when it's the evidence that I can try practicing local organizing is the way the alternative will be resolved because it's obvious an implicit answer to it. But winning that the alternative cannot resolve for me means it cannot resolve the one impact they have gone for because there's only risk of link turn that outweighs the links.
You got to listen to your hearts, listen to the beat, listen to the rhythm of the streets. Open up your eyes, open up your ears, get together and make it better by working together. It's a simple message, and from the heart. Hey, believe in yourself. That's a clapper song. They don't make theme songs like that no more for real.
Daniel, you're a fraud, right?
Yeah.
Hey, congrats for your first term.
Thanks.
It's awesome.
Me personally, I wouldn't take that. I like Western.
My first college tournament, I was so bad.
Bro, I was trash, bro. I went 3-3, bro.
Bro.
3-3.
I barely broke it.
Bro,
JV.
3-3, bro.
I went 4-2 with JV.
Bro, you went 4-2. I went
JV.
Bro, you broke.
JV.
That's fine.
Yeah, I did 4
I'm
years.
talking about college.
Bro, I did 4 years of high school.
I'm talking about college.
That's what I'm saying.
You broke.
I mean, in JV.
I bet you still got clapped though.
In JV? Nah, I did.
Oh, all the
No,
sudden.
we lost. We didn't get clapped. We lost. It was close.
What, like doubles?
What? Nah, the tournament wasn't big enough. It was the Binghamton tournament. Binghamton tournament ain't big enough for that.
Oh, the first chance?
Yeah, the Shaq's invitation used to get pillows.
Huh?
You know how like they make blankets?
Huh?
You ever been to a Binghamton tournament?
It was virtual, huh?
Damn. Alright, so back in the day, Joe Shaq's mom she like makes these beautiful quilts.
I heard that. I heard about
And
that.
so at the ABT, people was getting like this like I don't even know how to describe it. It's not a doily because it's not small, but it's not. It's like a pillow without the fluff on the inside. And it was like designed real pretty. And then top speaker got like a big ass quilted blanket. But back in the day, they used to actually give you pillows. Like it would be, and she made it, and then she stuffed it, and then you get like second speaker, you got a pillow.
Second speaker.
And so I roll home with that. Take a nap with it.
You still got it, Lee? Hell no.
And that's the place to start. And I say, hey.
What awards are at? Can't remember that. Okay.
same setup you use for you stream online?
Yeah. Or well, new iPad. But yeah, same setup, so same like mic and stuff. Yeah.
What do you think the total cost is?
I
I guess sans the iPad.
Sans the iPad, mic was like 40, adapter and charger was like 50, and the tripod was like 25.
Nice.
And then obviously the iPad was pretty expensive, but
you could use that.
yeah, I use it for school. It's like really nice for school. And we actually got after Texas last year, when Texas was doing all like the recording. We emailed Yao and got the setup.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Kate,
He sent me in. I was like, this looks way more expensive than what.
yeah. Ricker used some money Katie debate had left over to buy like our own iPad, so I was using that for streaming it too.
You got money?
No.
Hey,
Katie debate had money, and now it's in an
I
iPad.
was about to say, give me 500, bro. I'll make your day.
Okay.
My bid's $250.
wait a minute. Okay, we need to discuss after the crap.
And I know you know Scott.
Can we get the burger box for this?
Venmo's at Kurt.
Bucks don't cover that.
Kurt looks at his phone, sees the notification immediately when the 2 hours starts.
What's the word?
Don't read my jokes.
It's going to be the procedural first.
Cool.
Then it's going to be the critique and the case.
Okay. Procedural, and then
Pick. See, it's like we don't be on the same
So
page.
let's see-
Like he be like case, I say it's a K. He say the pick, I say it's the procedure. You know?
So-
That's just making your job harder, not mine.
Yeah, I know it is. I didn't say it wasn't.
Alright, so Latin, Advantage 1, Advantage 2.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm gonna record the speech. Okay.
Now you gotta try to follow you.
Huh? Oh yeah. Everybody good? Yep. Okay. Kansas will lose this debate because they functionally conceded a ballot pick in gun restriction, which will be crucial why they lose. Now, this debate is not about the hypothetical implementation of the plan, but rather the competitive incentive to use win means that the ballot pick solves a huge net benefit when they have not contested, which proves that you can vote negative, while disagree with agreeing the entire one is good and avoid a net benefit that is using suffering for wins and creating a worse space for debate. Now, debate is not a radical space for policy making, but only a place where rather wins and losses drop. I've reached our university seek to separate themselves from an outside world that makes the life of martyred people and pieces on a chess pick. On a chessboard now, if we not all have to win, that picks are good to solve the entire thing out. Now, picks are good. They conceded our interpretation that we get the wrong pick on the condition that was solving an advocate that was criticized the word that officer knew was to solve the impact identified, which is the reproducing evidence in the context we have talked about. One is the argument refinement drop, finding specific criticism of certain words, forces them to add the app research every aspect of the one they see when they lose on it, and then they're incentivized to go back to the drawing board, i.e. they will know that when they lose trust in this octal or this double debate, they'll never read this out against black people again because they've commodified them. Second, they drop that reclaiming agency. The dissent they drop the picks off from reminding people to reclaim your agency against people who have dominated space like Kansas. 3, we change research practices better. Debaters historically changed when they were. They're arguing when they lose, i.e. Devon, you know when you were judging us into finally Kentucky and Georgetown changed their entire debate team because they lost trust to prove that they're insensitive to the argument that kids change debate. They also dropped that we were more world policies. Let's go through multiple revision. They also dropped me at half if they prep is predictable because every pick is justifiable. Every pick under our interpretation has the evidence and they get for the prep to prove. Now they dropped education comes first. One, the only thing valuable outside of the space is learning how to research better, which is the question of the pedagogy we explore media to prioritize best model debate that facilitates it leading to more fair debates to be willing of fairness. When proved now, the permutation goes to now 1. They definitely do not get the perm because they drop all our answers. 1, all links to this fairness to the permutation. And the proving that benefit is definitely a dishap to the perm. Secondly, the app, we have said to reject the app for the sexual competition. They dropped that there's no way you can vote app and reject the app at the same time. We disagree with entirely of their performance minus and their inclusion to win. They have said that winning their scholarship is good. We have said the app winning on their scholarship is bad. They say we shouldn't use. They said we should use people we don't know in debate for wins. We said it's bad, which means the perm. If they're really impossible now, cross-body body policies have one framework which will go now. 1, extend our framing interpretation, and we are not going to go for a lie. We're not going to go for the big problem, but instead of the framing issue, they can see that tipping points have past relationality, mean that we don't need to win the app. But also, they drop that if we prove their engagement is bad, then they should lose. Now, remember, we're writing RFD, the lines across text. We honor that inheritance is much the one she just needs to say plan good. That disavow the Hill evidence says that reading picks theory was the only tactic that even people from the space returns clash arguments because UDL kids can never engage space in the first say the only argument they have is that we have Latin Heritage Month debates for all September, but one, that's a good thing. It forces you to reinterpret your relationship to people in space. But also, you have not argued to prove that you are this battle, which means that their interpretation is that worse now. They have dropped that. Now, I would do the instruction here now. One, Devon, they dropped all the instruction that you have to vote negative here because we only us have a way to tell you how to vote in this debate. Devon, when you asked your town to find in 2017 when the first app, like say about this affirmative, it's the same shit, same story. Kansas has not read this app because of their interest, but the active choice to kind of speak for people who are not in the room, i.e. they disavowed between the UL debaters coming into this space because they've created violent in-run tactics where they have to debate two white dudes from Kansas who talk about their suffering for wins without that they don't really care about them, not because they care to prove that really negative debate is key. Tomorrow they dropped that you come from Wake and have traumatized in Chicago UL and have a unique role in this debate. Kansas participated in the same anti-black thing that Texas did in your Octos debate. You remember the fire at tour you gave in Octos and NET and think about how you transformed the community and brought black debate together in this debate. You go negative do the same thing. Kurt, they dropped their voting for Kansas. Makes you complicit the same big school taxes that make you use your own team participated in against UDL kids and debate with color, i.e. UDL kids go to the Michigan camp, they feel excluded at the same time because they're not TSC capital. The argument about the procedural reading tokenization, not doing anything, that is you because you obviously have tokenized black and brown people in the debate and then use it for win. Now our interpretation you should evaluate the 1C research project to clarify they did not get to go to office about hypothetical implementation of the plan, but its representation from around one. They drop our class is better, meaning that there's no outline framework in our class. It's better absolutely regarding our office based on the representation that put them off with benefit of the 1C. Introducing class page conversation on Obsolete Ruther absolutely reject their interpretation to one fiat illusory, nothing happens when you vote. Afterwards means that the music fiat has no real educational backing because hypothetical tests do not reflect the real world. It's impossible to determine the consequence of any hypothetical plan and impossible. Also, drop the body politics instead. Having your scholarship behind weighing the consequence. This is why for the body politics to make you worse. Environmental activists when you role play the state with disconnect activists from underground struggle and prevent actual change outside of space. Now, the link will be the net benefit of the permutation. They frankly conceded that our argument is that you should relocate out of the prior question to this debate because not about what we should do, but how we do it. Our argument is that the way Kansas engaged the black community inside and outside of space, our parents say that you should read the perm card to say the plan will be good for black people, but then not highlighting the part that say that the plan will cause black farmers to go into poverty. You break the K after about, you break the after about black and Latin people against black debaters who went versus them just to never talk about them again. You will not read the app again. You look at their tab. Why didn't they read against the 4 other teams that are after the tournament versus non-black teams? This proves that they read this argument in bad faith to fungibilize cooperative profit off the suffering of black flesh and done to win, not to be pro-black. The permanently highlighting is damning because it is true they've created the forced choice only answer they have with that farmers call for it. But who are the names? Who are the black farmers? If you not tell me who, you should assume that the plan is in bad faith in Kansas to not be able to profit off black people in this round and because for win and choose for them when they're not choosing between the poor or causing climate change, which they're not doing, which means that we have a massive net benefit. They functionally conceded that suffering and using suffering representation in debate are bad. One, because it fundalizes people and makes their flesh valuable. Also, secondly, it disavows union participation, creates space anti-black, which is bad. Now, the alternative, they dropped the ballot pick, say you can think the app is good without voting for them because it means that they get commanded by suffering for wins, which is conceded. There's no 2-year answers because I don't have a 3 in our now. The alternative is reject the app in the form of wake work. It's simple. Perform the act of wake work is a dedication to protect the dead and archive room meeting. Protecting our dead is key now. Voting negative rejects the attempt to use suffering for wins in debate, which is Kansas. Remember, they conceded that relation to report arguments. We need that our debate confirmed to drop, that in turns place in sacrifice and turns climate change. Now, the case proper, I don't have to go to it because they've conceded a ballot pick to prove that you can agree entirely after the good thing, but still vote negative to not use suffering characteristics for win. Now, drop is net benefit means there's no new arguments and it makes the debate worse, which impact turns their framework arguments could create a worse model debate for black debaters and activists, which means the pick solves.
I'm gonna run to the bathroom. We have 107.
Questions if it comes back.
Stop really going to the bathroom. That's a fact. Can't run anymore.
Anybody actually interested in candy?
Don't be anti-black.
What kind of candy?
There's soy wax, woody weight, like homemade, like from the airport and stuff.
Good, bro.
Like mixing
Oh,
all the flavors.
shit.
They're all custom flavors that me and my wife made. Yeah.
Aw, this is adorable.
They got me judging, bro.
How is that, bro?
They make me a class judge now.
I know.
Join our
I gotta go get,
mailing
would
list.
you vote to the elections?
Huh?
I gotta go get.
Join our mailing
You
list.
done this?
No.
Why?
Because Storm's judging.
Join our mailing list.
So
We
we
ship
both have to
to
go.
all 50 states, relevant territories like the counter plan you did.
You got it all yet?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I got an email.
Yeah, I can't have it.
You know,
It just sucks.
You say,
They suck at responding.
It's the facial hair. How you doing, man?
You went to NTI though.
Good. You're not watching your TV
You went to
today?
NTI. How was it?
Well, that's right. Getting a good new TV. I like that. That's good. hurricane.
Nah, like
And
full on.
we do vacuums too.
Like yes, you can.
Oh yeah.
I'm not that fancy. Not that advanced.
No, because I'm seeing y'all like, and all I see.
We all got that earth. We're trying to save the earth. You know what I'm saying?
107 starting now.
Can somebody see if Devon and Marvin are outside? Oh, it's still early.
It's advantage to sacrifice zones, the pick / procedural, and advantage one.
One more time.
Yeah, it's advantage to sacrifice zones, the pick / procedural, and then advantage one.
Okay.
Okay. There we go. After this debate, you know that biomass subsidies are bad. It produces a green sacrifice zone for the government. It tells British companies to pollute Black, Indigenous, and Latino communities in the South and California in order for profit under the guise of decarbonization, all the while then shipping that energy abroad without helping the individual communities that they are polluting. The 1AC heeds demands from those communities that have explicitly opposed the continuance of the wood pellet plants and are currently opposing the expansion in Stockton, California. Only we have evidence that cites the demands of these communities and says that we should remove subsidies. Only revoking subsidies can solve. The industry is unprofitable and solely kept afloat because we subsidize the industry and gives billions of dollars to companies. Voting negative aligns with climate denialists and puts the specific demands of people outside of the debate space on the back burner. The pick. We have impact turned the DSRB evidence, which is the premise of the pick. It is good to talk about people outside of the debate space, and it's also good for white people to talk about people that are not just white men like us. This is an educational activity. Both teams have made arguments about why it is good that we learn from the debate space, that we do things in debate, we learn intricacies of arguments, and then we export that into the real world. It is only our interpretation that allows us to talk about and learn about things that do not just affect white men like us, and can talk about non-white people without pathologizing them, because the one is an explicit response to demands. Only we have read evidence that cites the demands of Black, Indigenous, and Latino communities in Stockton, California, or in Stockton, California, Alabama, or in North Carolina. No. I'll do picks bad here. I'll do more of that argument on the advantage one, but the picks are bad. It steals the entirety of the 1AC. It makes it impossible to be affirmative because any negative team can just read it back at us. They dropped two arguments that take out picks. One, it kills topic-based education. We cannot have intricate discussions over the content of the 1AC versus offense when the debate is instead just AFF the AFF, and we have some, they can pick out of some infinite, unpredictable assumptions out of the 1AC, which means that we never export any of our knowledge. We never get into the intricacies piece of method debates, or learn what is the best way to combat climate change, or reduce emissions, or what is the best for communities that are being afflicted by pollution and emissions in the status quo. Second is they dropped that it stacks the deck against the affirmative in favor of the negative. It gives them an unreasonably easy win condition. It makes it impossible to win on the affirmative because there's no offense we can generate versus actions that are just the affirmative. It was fairness offense dropped. You can check out on it now. The DSRP answer takes out their application. Talking about people outside of the debate is good. It's an educational activity. We should learn from the content of the debate itself. They also drop that the alternative to talking about these groups is never talking about them, which is significantly worse because it means that we never do research on them or learn about them or talk about the issues that are actually afflicting them at all. It turns all of their commodification and ballot pick good arguments. And refusing what I see is not a sufficient justification for winning a pick. Decking the stack in favor of the negative because there's never sufficient win condition for the affirmative. Makes the negative a win record 100%. It's magnified if they just have to refuse it. They say reclaiming arguments, the topic education stuff. It turns if you cannot learn about these groups that are commodified or harmed because their model is we never learn about them at all.
It's fine.
No, this was still on the pick. Picks do not solve their offense. We would research other avenues, but we would research other. They say we would research other avenues under picks. We agree with that, but we would do it in a way that we would contest the arguments that they present, and we would internalize the loss as being a technical failure rather than changing our subjectivity. But only we have offense about talking about communities that are not us outside of the debate space. We impact turn the DSRP stuff. Yes, we agree with the bottom of the 2 and R here that education is valuable, but the pick does not access it because the reading of the 1AC itself was good in a justification of an affirmative ballot. They can't, or whatever. They cannot, top level, they cannot access the UDL engagements. Arguments cannot make an explanation for the ballot being key ever in the 2 and R. Debate itself will access their offense. They do not have an argument for why the ballot itself is key. Our interpretation is the judge and imagine the hypothetical implication of the plan against either competitive alternative or the consequences of the affirmative. Anything else lowers the bar for negative offense too low and destroys any clash. A model of debate that prioritizes predictable engagement over germane opportunity costs and develops us into more informed scholars with revolutionary convictions and ensures genuine reciprocal dialogue over their arguments. They say layered clash is better. It is not. If the K would always lose to the permutation, that is a non-competitive cost option. It means that it is not a matter method of clash. Only our interpretation laws in-depth method, be method debates and talking about the intricacies of things instead of having infinite debates over an assumption that was not integral to any component of the 1AC. The link, we read this new affirmative because it's the elims of the first tournament. We think it's a strategic argument. We plan on reading it in the future, but we didn't want to read it in prelims. We show our hand, do not assume the plan is in bad faith. The threshold for an app ballot is not name the people or name the groups. It is the policy we support good for the communities. Our evidence cites public hearings and testimonials that proves that a affirmative is a response to demands and is not pathologizing but voting negative would be. Climate securitization is good. Their interpretation cannot access it. It means that we can never securitize warming or talk about it because it disproportionately affects minority communities and not us. Drop securitizing it is good. The leave-in evidence says that it motivates us to create meaningful change to combat climate change rather than create any apathy. The link turn. Subsidies for biomass under my black forestry, which is a key factor for black living units in the face of racial capitalism. Deforestation practices brought on by the woody biomass industry operates to intentionally harm black and indigenous communities by recreating calculations of where extraction could occur with less backlash. It results in extractive racial capitalism that is a unique form of the impact the negative has gone for. That's the Purifoy evidence. It means the app and the K are not mutually exclusive and you can vote on the permutation because we both agree extraction near, around, and on black and indigenous communities is bad. It outweighs the links. At best, their links are not consequences to the affirmative. I mean, the link turn is a positive consequence that solves their offense. Their answers to the link turn are relevant. A, it is not a forced choice. The one you describe the choice that black farmers have made, which is to demand the end of woody biomass subsidies. We're at the entire second advantage articulating those demands is indicative of what choice they want to make. B, black landowners have other vector for livelihood that is harmed by biomass production, water pollution, mass emissions, etc. To destroy black farmers disproportionately. Their stuff is not predictable. Steals from what I see means we never have a chance to know what the negative is going to say and kills any clash education.
Anybody got a point?
Oh my god.
I'm waiting for
check
my memo right now.